What's up, peers, and welcome to the World Crypto Network, here for a new show with open source everything, where we talk about, well, amazing open source stuff that is happening in Bitcoin and Bitcoin only. No, we do venture out of other areas as well. We're here, thankfully, not alone, but with Tony. What's up? How are you doing?
Hey Max, thanks for having me.
Well, really, thank you for first of all joining here us in this conversation, but then also for purchasing the Nodl, which we're going to talk about today, because you already have yours. Which number is it?
What number Nodl do I have? Here's my box here, number 5.
Number 5. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Okay. I have here the number -1. This is the testing unit, which Kato Miner used for all his testing before we shipped it on, because, well, the 21 units sold too fast. So this is the -1. Thank you very much to Kato Miner, who, by the way, full disclosure, he did gift me this. Partially because it's awesome, and I begged him to get one, and then also just for showing you here on the World Crypto Network. So this might be a little bit of a sponsorship, so just so you know. But I mean, the Nodl is amazing, and I'm absolutely going to continue to support this awesome project because I love it. It's cool. So this is what we are going to do today. The unboxing here of the Nodl. Got all the parts here that we need. We have, of course, the Nodl itself, the box, a bunch of cables, both the power cable, the Ether cable, and here the USB Type 3 cable, the blue one, rather fast. A bunch of stickers, and I personally like this sticker right here, a sticker of the Genesis block hash, black on white, which I think it's amazing. So the box is pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Tony, what did you think of the packaging and all the goodies within?
Oh, I loved it. I mean, ordering this felt like, participating in Bitcoin history, which is just really cool. This is like a major step for just for like regular people. Like, I'm not a super technical person, and so just to be able to set up my own, not just the Bitcoin node, but I had done that like previously on my computer, but then also like the Lightning node, and then also the BTC Pay server. I'm going to set up my own Lightning store, and though there's one thing that arrived in my box which was particularly awesome. This is a yellow vest. Did you get one of these too? Yeah.
Oh yes.
And these are from France, where the yellow vest is particularly symbolic right now. So it's been pretty awesome.
Well, yes. Kato Miner is shipping out of France, and this means that he was involved in these protests. And although I don't agree with many of these protests on a political level, trying to achieve, but of course, there is a lot of frustration there. And there are two solutions on how to handle these frustrations. Either you go out and riot, and you are violent, and try to get your voices heard this way, or, well, you build cool tech that will help you to claim your liberty, because no one is going to give it to you by a decree. You really have to claim it. And Bitcoin, in my opinion, is a beautiful solution for doing that. You can claim your financial sovereignty. You can claim your financial independence. And that with a little box, right? So this is why I supported the Nodl so heavily ever since Prague at the Hackers Congress. And that was, it's a really cool project that is absolutely needed. So Tony, why specifically did you, buy the Nodl itself, or why did you check it out? Why do you find it interesting?
I agree with you. I mean, Bitcoin is not really, any one political ideology or faction or whatever. There's incredible diversity within Bitcoin for the different political points of view, but it is about empowering individuals to really run your own financial life, and which is something I had never realized I wasn't doing. I was just basically like living through the banks and the credit cards, and I just kind of did it without thinking about it. And I was using this money, which I just did it without thinking about it. And then once you start, as you learn about Bitcoin, you end up learning about money. and you're like, wait a minute, what is this? And why am I using it? And how am I using it? And who's actually running it? And who's like watching every single like financial transaction that I do all the time? And it gets really like unnerving as you learn about it, that they like, you know, we basically have zero financial privacy. And everything we're doing financially has to be like basically like pre-approved, you know, by these, you know, various like power structures. And I think that's bull. I think it's ridiculous. I think there should be such a thing as, you know, like you say, financial sovereignty, and like people get to decide what they want to do with their money, and they have financial privacy. And so it's one of the reasons I've been really into Bitcoin. I think that's healthy for, you know, a democratic society, actually, to have financial sovereignty for the individuals. And so running your own node is a key part of that, because you're not relying on other people to basically confirm your transactions and tell you what's valid and what's not valid. And so the Nodl node is part of that. And then the Lightning Network is what's going to allow Bitcoin to really scale, to be used as a method of transactions at basically limitless scale, rather than just a store of value. And just a store of value. Store of value is actually super important. Having an independent store of value is actually like the biggest deal. So I should say, like, just a method of transaction on top of the store of value.
Absolutely. Like, the store of value is the killer app for Bitcoin.
Yeah.
No one is able to steal it from you. Period.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the pitch. That's the elevator pitch.
Yeah.
For you.
I mean, that's the main thing. The rest is all just like cherry on top, which is like cool. So yeah. I mean, the problem is as I get these devices, you know, I then want to spend Bitcoin to like buy stuff, and I hate spending Bitcoin, so then I got to buy more Bitcoin, and so.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. So yeah, to say that our sound money just got instant free Lightning payments. I mean,
yeah.
What could you ever need that for?
Yeah.
But we have it now. It's here, and you can use it. That's a beautiful thing. But of course, with Lightning, even more so than with Bitcoin, you need to run a full node, especially at the current where you truly want to handle Lightning payments completely trustless. Let's keep aside neutrino clients for now, which might be a good solution. But if you truly want to have full control, you just need a full node, right? And so having a plug-and-play easy solution of not just running a Bitcoin full node to truly claim your financial self-sovereignty, but also get the added benefit of having your instant free and cheap transactions. I mean, it's a good combination, right? It's a good selling point. And that will increase, in my opinion, hopefully, the number of users who are going to be running a node, right?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, to me, it feels like, you know, in the 80s, I played around with setting up my own bulletin board. I had a FidoNet board when I was a teenager. And it was like playing around with the very, very beginnings of the internet. And it was like weird. And it's like, you know, it's just for criminals or whatever, and like that kind of stuff. And like, and doing, you know, setting up these nodes and like getting the Nodl and installing it really reminds me of that. Like, I feel like we're at the like very beginning of like basically a whole new world for financial, for finance, just overall. And so it's just I feel so lucky to be here, like right as it's getting started.
Oh, absolutely, right? We are on the forefronts, and I would not want to miss a second of it, right?
Yeah.
So clearly, right, running a full node is critically important, and there are many different options, right? You can run one on your phone. Literally, the AB Core app developed by Blockstream developer Larry Nguyen is working on your phone. Prune Bitcoin full node, verify every single transaction on your phone. Doable, right? Of course, not convenient because it's going to drain your battery and everything. Then you can run it on your main computer. And that's especially useful if you have a lot of active development on this one computer or laptop, right? And if you can afford to run it pretty much 24/7. right? If you're offline for a longer time, it's of course possible, but then you have to resync the entire blockchain. And that might take a little while, right? And especially it takes up a lot of resources. And when you have a bunch of other stuff on your computer, like your mail and your videos and your browser and everything, then it might just get clogged up. And having a separate, always on dedicated device for this is, in my opinion, a really cool solution. So, of course, what I've been shilling here on the WCN for a long time are Raspberry Blitz nodes, right? Get your own one. Like the Raspberry Blitz Pi costs $30. Put a hard drive on there, and it's going to run your Bitcoin full node. And that's, of course, awesome. Those do not consume much energy at all. They're extremely cheap and rather reliable for that price. So big downside is that they are, especially when you get a new one, a brand new one, and they are not as easy to set up. And that's where something like the Raspberry Bolt or the Casa node comes in, that provide a nice user experience and simplify the process of onboarding on such a low computer level node. And Tony, you have the Casa. So what was your experience with the Casa, and how do you like it so far?
Yeah, so I got the Casa because, look, I'm not a tech person, and so I needed something easy, and it's been super easy. It is what as it's advertised. It's just like, a node for dummies that you plug in and like it starts up and you use it. The Casa company is really fascinating. It's one of the most pure kind of Bitcoin companies I've really seen. I mean, it's people think like companies like Coinbase or whatever are Bitcoin companies, but there's a lot of companies that aren't actually Bitcoin companies. They're really just like regular companies that are using Bitcoin. But like Casa is really Bitcoin from the ground up, and it's about helping people claim their financial independence, their financial self-sovereignty, and so it's been wonderful. And then you meet, there's this international community of people that are interested in this, and you get connected with them, and you're all learning from each other. And so, yeah, I highly recommend it.
Awesome, right? And how was especially the initial period? Because unfortunately, right, the Raspberry to sync the entire blockchain in a rather short period of time. You can do it in like 2 to 3 months, but of course that's not really a good user experience. So the initial sync is rather tricky, right? Staying up to sync, like once you are caught up, is of course doable. But how did Casa handle this initial sync period?
Yeah, and this is something that's unusual when you first get into Bitcoin. I remember when I first downloaded Core years ago, and it takes like a few days to like sync. And I was like, wait a minute, what's going on? We're not used to that. We're used to banks handling that. We're used to like other people basically handling all that. So Casa handles it as they have it kind of pre-synced on the device. Now, the risk is that you end up trusting the Casa company because it's pre-synced, right? It lets you start like right away immediately, but you're basically trusting their pre-sync. So what you can do with your Casa node if you want is you can reset. There's a reset button, and then it'll just like do the full sync from the beginning, right? There's some people who do that. The Nodl is different. The Nodl comes unsynced, and so my Nodl is actually syncing as we're talking.
Yeah, right. That's cool. And I mean, there are inherent trade-offs to that, right? Yes, you do have to trust Casa to not put a bad blockchain on there, but you can somehow, reference on other sources what the current block is, and what the what the block height number and ID and everything is, and that can be done manually, and you can cross-reference and decrease this trust level. But nonetheless, right, the entire slogan, and you have it even on your hat, is don't trust, verify, right? So absolutely, this is probably the only option you have with Node at this moment, is you have to pre-sync it somewhere. Now, what you can do is, for example, if you have a good, decent computer, you sync it on your computer, let that run for a couple days full-time just with Bitcoin, and dedicate a lot of RAM and CPU power to it. And then this will sync the entire blockchain verified on your hardware according to your consensus rules. And then you can move this database that has been generated, the chain state and the blocks and everything, and you move that onto the Raspberry Pi. When you have a SSD, a couple hundred gigabytes, that shouldn't take too long. And then you can set the assume valid or flag on the initial sync. And then it will just jump to the most recent block, which you have found on your laptop. Let's assume block 550,000 or something. And from that point on, then it does all the validation on the Raspberry Pi itself. So in that sense, you can pre-sync, pre-verify on a beefier computer and then transport it over to the Raspberry Pi, which is cool.
I'm guessing over time, people are going to figure out better and better solutions to this. It's worth highlighting why this is important. Because, the word decentralized gets thrown around a lot, right? Like everyone's using decentralized and, like even Ripple and whatever is like, we're decentralized, right? And what they really mean is they're distributed, right? Distributed means there's like a bunch of different, processes running on different computers. But they're still basically centrally controlled. There's a central, like Amazon is like centrally controlled, or with Ripple, the company makes a list that, determines who's validating nodes and that kind of thing. And even with Ethereum, most of the transactions are processed through Infura, right? So, Ethereum is like decentralized, blah, 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 blah. But really, it's just, it's largely a very centralized system. And if you try, the only way to actually get a decentralized system is for all the different nodes to independently download the blockchain and verify it, right? That's when it's actually decentralized. And that's also when you have actual decentralized governance. Pierre Rochard has written a lot about this, and Michael Goldstein, Bitstein has written about this. It really requires kind of independent nodes that are independently verifying. And Bitcoin is just like miles and miles ahead of every one of these other quote unquote decentralized networks in terms of people doing that. And it's a pain in the butt. Yeah, like, independence is not easy. Independence is not like, oh, you just like flip a switch and like, you know what I mean? Like, it takes some work, especially now we're at the beginning of like developing all this. We're still figuring it out. But if your goal actually is decentralization, in actual practice, not just as like a branding term, you got to run your own nodes. You got to, verify your own transactions. I'm hoping over time, technical literacy will go up as a result of this.
Oh yes, all very good points, right? And as you said, self-sovereignty is not easy. It's not for the cowardly. If you truly want to be responsible for all your actions, well, you have to live with the consequences of these actions, of course. And that is inherent in any case, but truly realizing that and applying this to money, you're like, oh, wait, when I own my own keys, if I lose them, they are gone. Yeah, exactly. That's the entire point. If you lose this information, then the Bitcoin are no longer accessible to you. Yeah. But then further, your own full node is like when you run your own full node, you make your own rules. You check if everyone else is playing by these rules, and if not, you kick them out of the network. Your network. This is your, because you say so. And that is the ultimate cry for self-independence and self-sovereignty, and the realization that, no, I want to be responsible for my own actions. I want to be responsible for my money. And that, of course, includes running a Bitcoin full node and claiming our financial freedom, because no one is going to give it to us.
Yeah, I agree. It's exciting. And it's a little scary. The first time you do your own Bitcoin transaction, and you click send, and you're like, whoa, what just happened? And there's no one to call if it doesn't work out. You know what I mean? Like, if you lose your keys, if you lose your password, there's no one to call to like reset it. So it's frightening, and then it's incredibly empowering to do it. So I really recommend. And look, you can start with $5 worth of Bitcoin. You know, you can start with like small amounts and play around. And it's been one of the most empowering things I've ever done.
Oh yes, absolutely. Well, and let's stick with that theme of doing empowering things. Let's go step by step on what is actually included here in this Nodl, because it truly is a nice little package here. So first of all, we have here a little box, right? Number, and it says, for my individual node, Nodl to the max. And it also a little personal thank you note here from Cato Miner. So thank you very much. And it's truly been a pleasure working with him and building this stuff forward. And of course, he's done all of the work, basically. I'm just talking about it. But that is absolutely just nice to be involved directly with a software project and hardware project accordingly. Then, as I said, there are a couple different set of stickers. These right here, that is a I can't pick it up. That is a lightning sticker, always nice, right? A little, how do you call it? Roller coaster sticker.
Bitcoin roller coaster guy.
Yep.
An important Bitcoin meme.
Yes. And of course, right here, right? Reckless. Because that's truly what we are like. The lightning bolt is redundant. Like Bitcoin itself is reckless. Lightning is even recklessly.
Yeah.
And of course, down here, a Bitcoin logo sticker. So that pick it up right here. These are gifted to us, or not gifted. We bought them from one dude on the internet, of course, with Lightning payments. So that is awesome. Not exactly sure who that was, but that's nice. But we also have some self-produced stickers. And as I showed earlier, I just love this one. It is the Bitcoin Genesis block and encoded here black on white. Awesome how the print quality really is superb, and I like it a lot. So I treasure these, and we'll use them in a new set, which I'll soon move to. So that is a nice gear, and of course, right here, the yellow vest, which is a nice add-on as well. Okay, so then let's move also then to the different wires that are here, because there are a couple difference. First of all is the regular power wire. So this comes here with a European cord, and it is something similar to what you could find on your laptop, right? So that's how you power this powerful device. And then usually this little double butt plug is put here in the backside of the Nodl to connect the SSD with the main. So this connects your SSD to your main computer. And of course, what would be superior if you have a USB Type-C, USB Type 3 cable. So these are the blue cables, right? And they are faster read and write. So this just makes it even faster to sync this node. So on the initial sync, I would recommend removing this butt plug and then plugging in this cable here. It's not going to look as pretty. It's really going to save you a couple hours in the initial sync time. Then there's also, of course, here the Ether cable, right? So that is how you connect it, most preferably directly to your router. As you interact with the Nodl all in the browser, you will not have to physically touch it or put any input-output devices on there. So this Nodl can sit on your next to your main router to have the fastest speed and just be secure and out of your way. And then last but not least, we have here a little USB to USB Type B, I think, is it? The regular phone USB, which you specifically for the ColdCard. And that is why the cable is so short, because the amazing ColdCard Wallet back here works like a charm with the Nodl. And this means that you need a really short cable to make the iffy touchboard here a bit more bearable. So that is always nice. And that's pretty much all that is here in the Nodl box itself. Tony, where do you have the Nodl set up?
So I've got my Nodl back here. It's right there. It's next to my Casa node. I plan on having a collection I'm just so obsessed with this stuff. I'm going to get every possible one that's made. But this is it. I got my stickers going. The Bitcoin roller coaster guy. Maybe I should be pointing them down right now because of the bear market.
Always up. Always up.
Always up. Yeah, always up. It's so funny. People are like, "Oh, does the bear market have you down?" And I'm like, "Oh, this is like the best time to be in Bitcoin in the bear market because it's like everyone who's like just chasing the fast money is gone, and like it's just like the awesome people are left." And so here it is. It's sinking away. It's been sinking for maybe an hour or so. You know, the setup. We were saying earlier that the setup was so fast. It's not even like. You know, I was like, this might be disappointing for like a setup video because it was just like boom, 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 and like you're done, and now it's like syncing. So I could try sharing the screen with it syncing. Should I try doing that?
Let's wait for a little bit to have the chronological.
Oh, okay.
But we'll absolutely show that in just a second.
Okay.
But yeah, you're right, right? This is such an easy setup that, I mean, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah.
But let's just quickly get through it. Well, first of all, plug in the little cable here. So it's not going to look pretty, right? So you have your long little dongle here that you will have both plug in and plug out of the Nodl. So that looks kind of odd. But then you plug in, of course, the Ethernet cable, just like this, as you would plug in any other Ether cable, and the power cable. Voila. And that's it. And now I'm going to jump under the table to plug it into my router and power supply. So Tony, take it off. Okay.
That's cool what you were saying about it. The cord, the small cord is for plugging into the ColdCard. I didn't know that. I've got a ColdCard, so I'm looking forward to using that.
I'll mute myself.
Okay. I just want to say while I'm here, it's such an honor to be on the World Crypto Network. You know, I've been watching this show for a few years now. I think Thomas Hunt was the first person I watched, the first host, and then you know with Jimmy Song and everyone, and it's pretty cool to be here. So Max is plugging it all in, and I found that it just was super straightforward. Everything just out of the box came together real easily.
Okay.
And then, okay, cool.
So got everything plugged in. Hope I did a fine job with that. And now here it is, the power. Oh,
Bingo.
a blue light, the halo. We have it. Teeny tiny fan. You probably can't even hear it.
I couldn't even hear it.
Nah, okay. And it just looks nice here. Little the blue light around the power supply and blinking light for showing that it is on and running. Now it's stopped. Now it's loaded. Now it's blinking again. So, and the case is superb. Okay, this is a real steel case, or no, it's not steel. It's like aluminum or something. But it is definitely a high quality case. It's not cheap. It's sturdy. This is meant to last. And probably you can even take this camping, especially when it's connected to the Blockstream satellite with a mesh network. This is a rugged device, right? So that is nice. And now from that point on, we can pretty much leave that back there. We don't need to touch it again because everything else is handled via the browser. So, Tony, how's the initial setup for the browser itself?
I mean, it's super easy. You just, there's like, the instructions are just a few steps. You go to the URL for the device. I had to type in the actual, what's it called, IP address. And then I went there, I was using Chrome. and I've got all kinds of antivirus stuff and privacy badger and all that kind of stuff, and it still worked. And then the first thing you do is you update the system software. And so at the top of the screen, it says schedule update. And so you click on that, and then you wait a few minutes. And I then refreshed the screen. What's cool is Keto Miner is available also on Telegram, providing support. So thank you for that. It's really awesome to be able to do this, with the developer on hand, like to kind of guide you through it and everything. So there's almost no guiding necessary.
Yep, exactly. And Piers, as you have just seen, this here is the Nodl setup page, right? When you are first then in the in this link up here, nodl.local /colon 8338/admin. This is how you will be greeted. Welcome to the Nodl, and you have here your unique identity or Nodl number, and then you can click the Nodl logo for the setup, and this will give you monetary liberty in your palm, Bitcoin full node, Lightning node, and BTC Pacer. Right? And these are just some of the amazing features that are already here and will be coming very soon, hopefully. So that is really nice. So let's click here on the Nodl, and then we can set up with a password, which I'm going to stop the screen share so you don't see my password. So how was that set up, do you think, from a usability standpoint?
It's just super easy. I mean, yeah, it's hard to imagine it being any easier.
Okay, and I have set this up now. And with the password typed in, we can click here to continue. And, I should go out of the dark mode. Ooh, look at that. Much nicer. We can see here, we can, in the System tab, click here to check the system status, which when we do, we are seeing, okay, are we up to date? We are seeing the local host, what it is running, uptime, and where's the latest version? So where do I...
So let's see. I could show you on my screen. It says there's a kind of a blue button for schedule update. And so no, that's a different thing.
That's pretty useless, actually, says Kato Miner. So he's schooling the chat. But Kato Miner, where can I check for the updates? Oh no, right, I have to log in first.
Yeah, you got to log in. Yeah, that's it.
There we have it. Okay. Okay, there we have it. Now we are connected as an administrator, and here we have it. Schedule update. And now this will go on the Git and actually pull for the most recent version. So we cannot send you, or the Nodl cannot send you update alerts because this is your hardware and your software, right? So you will actually recurrently have to check for updates because, well, for privacy reasons also, we don't want to push anything onto your device right here. Update requested. Am I good now? I think so. Okay, let me reload. Kato Miner, help me. Is this now up to date?
Yeah, Kato Miner said just generally goes really quickly. I had to hit refresh once and for it to say, you know, but typically you wait for the blue button to appear again. So you see how it says update requested. So click on the URL and press enter. There you go.
Oh,
there it is. Yeah, so it's done.
Now it's done. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. And next click will be on Bitcoin D. So it is not yet installed. As you see, there's nothing pretty much installed on the Nodl. LND is also not installed, and BTC Pay is further not installed. So when pushing these buttons, you actually are compiling everything from source here, which is good, right? It's your hardware, it's your software, and nothing here is pre-installed or pre-synced. So now the installation is scheduled. And again, this is now pulling all the repositories directly from Git and compiling them on your local machine, right? Okay, let's reset that. Did it work? Bitcoin D usually does the installation rather fast, and Lightning even faster so because it's so tiny. And you can
click in the URL and hit enter again.
There we have.
There you go.
Okay. So yeah, that's something that will be or is being worked on, will be worked on. So now we can start this service in the background. It's starting, which is nice. And now it is running the Bitcoin D software, all in the backend, right? And now, okay, now I didn't even. And now we are syncing it already. You are now downloading the Bitcoin block headers and verifying them according to your own individual rules. And this
is, I just want to highlight this for people who are new to Bitcoin. What you're actually doing is going from the very beginning of the Bitcoin network. So these are, right now Max is getting Satoshi's transactions, right? Which the coins that Satoshi mined, and then pretty soon you're going to get like Satoshi and like Hal Finney or whoever was like doing it back then, and you actually literally get the whole history of the Bitcoin blockchain, which is so awesome.
Yep, exactly, and this is what is truly meant by absolutely trustless. You check everything yourself. You don't rely on any third party to re-present you, but you actually present yourself here, which of course is fantastic, right? And we see here we're getting updates of the most current blocks that we have. I think this is downloaded, and here we see the number that we have verified. So currently still downloading everything, and
it's downloading the headers.
It's downloading the headers, exactly.
Yeah, it's got to do that first.
Yeah, so very good point. So now downloading the block headers of all the blocks so far, 26,000. Of what is the current height?
Oh man, I don't know what it is currently. Let's see.
Blockstream.info, the best open source Bitcoin explorer. 555,114. So from now on, we're syncing currently at 64,000. So this will again take some time, but it should not allow you to do, or it should not require you to do any hands-on things other than logging in, setting a secure password, and then of course also installing it with literally one click, starting the software with another one click, and then waiting a couple days until everything is synced.
Yeah, I can't imagine it being any easier, or simpler than this, especially considering that it is doing like everything a full node should be doing. It's installing the software, it's getting it from GitHub, installing it, downloading all the blocks. So it's really remarkable.
Yep, absolutely. And again, like already almost there. And maybe we can then see a bit here later in the show how
I could show you, if I share my screen,
yeah,
it'll
right.
show it's a little further along. So how do I share screens in this?
On the top left, the green square.
Ah, got it. Okay. So let's see if I can share. Hold on one second. Okay.
And that is the thing, right? I got this box yesterday. I could unpack it and peek into it a little bit beforehand, but I couldn't run it. So I had to wait like, what was it? Almost 24 hours after having Nodl of actually getting to run it. And that's horrible. Having to wait on your device for so long.
Yeah. Yeah. So here it is. Here's my screen here. And you can see that the headers are synced, and now it's going through the blocks. You can see them kind of gradually growing up as we're talking here. And I've downloaded about 9% of the blockchain. It's been maybe an hour or so.
And so the cool thing with these 9% is that it's not measured by blocks, but actually by the data that you need to verify. So right now you have already downloaded much, much more than only 10% of the blocks. As you see, how much is it exactly?
Well, it's downloaded 9.2% of the blocks.
Yeah, but you see that you have already 280,000 blocks verified.
Yeah.
So that's over half of the blocks have been verified, but they only make up almost 10% of the entire data in the entire blockchain. And that's because in the early blocks, no one was using it, right? It was
just Satoshi and Hal and a few people kind of, saying they're mining it.
Exactly. And these blocks were much, much smaller, much faster to verify. So what is shown down dropped off. But this actually shows you, so the percentage shows you the percent of the processing power that the Nodl has to do. When you say that within 1 hour you got 10% already, that's lightning fast.
Yeah, it's going well. Yeah, it's going. It's a lot faster than the last time I synced, my Bitcoin core node. I don't know if that's because it's something KetoMiner has done to speed it up, or I know there's been improvements in initial syncing in recent Bitcoin core upgrades.
Oh yes, I think it's both of because the initial sync increase in efficiency of Bitcoin Core in the last 2 years are immense, really immense. And Peter Woolley just dropped another bombshell with something that will decrease the amount of bandwidth that you need for initial sync, which is super. By what was it, 80% or something? It's insane.
They keep improving it, and what's awesome is they improve it without sacrificing the independence, the security of the network. And because this is what all the various altcoins and shitcoins have done, is they improve the speed, but they do it by basically getting rid of any kind of decentralization, right? Like I remember, what was it? It was like a year ago or a year and a half ago, I tried syncing the Ethereum blockchain. And yeah, I was like, wait a minute. I left it going for 2 days and I came back and it was getting further behind. It wasn't getting ahead. And I think this was a year and a half ago or something. This was before the totally insane ICO mess of second half of 2017. I think this was early 2017. And then I found out you basically can't sync the Ethereum blockchain. I mean, even professional, companies that are trying to keep tabs on the space have trouble syncing, and so, and then there's things like Ripple where you don't even sync anything. You just kind of, use, their list of 10, approved servers or whatever. So this is really remarkable, this whole process, and it's easy to miss. What you're doing here is you are being your own bank. you are checking all the records going all the way back in Bitcoin time. You are also making decisions to do this. Like you are making the decision to operate, Bitcoin rather than fork off into like Bcash or whatever. And so there's a lot that's going on in this.
Oh yes, absolutely, right. And there are no further efficiencies made by the Nodl software or anything. This is just Bitcoin Core, right? So no magic on the software side. It's just a super efficient core client. And then further though, it's just killer hardware. I mean, this is a ROC 64 board, which is basically a Raspberry Pi on steroids. You can actually, it's the same size as the Raspberry Pi, just this board. So that is fantastic. But then this board alone is rocking 4 gigabytes of RAM, which is really important, especially for syncing and everything. And using a lot of the RAM here already just makes the speed up much faster. And the CPU is a powerhouse as well. And that combined with the amazing Nodl, with the amazing SSD involved. So it's not a hard drive, a solid hard drive. A spinning hard drive, a HDD, for which you can use for larger data, much cheaper, but it is slower in the read-write process. And because you're now with a SSD reading and writing much faster, this also helps the initial sync time. So check in on where I'm currently. Already, we've synced almost 100,000 blocks, which is pretty damn cool. So this is really fast in just a couple of minutes. And let's see where this continues. And then further, Peter Veritas, thank you very much for that $5 donation. That is very kind of you. Goes into
Max,
for the electricity.
Max, where do I go to see the chat window on YouTube? I don't see that.
It's on the right-hand side of the YouTube video.
Okay.
Same link. And then you can pop out the chat and have it in a separate browser window, which is nice.
Okay.
So yeah, your peers are going crazy in the chat, so that's always nice. There were several questions asked, and of course, Cato miners, and they're answering all of them much better than we could. So that is cool. But one really nice question was here, if I can find it, was Jake McKay asking, how would I expose this to the public so that if my ISP blocks my home connection, and can I use a VPN and map the public IP to the Nodl? And yes, absolutely. You can use your phone or something and connect this from outside with a VPN to your own network, and then log in with the password that you've created and control the entire Nodl from your phone wherever you are. So that is fantastic. And that is especially useful for something like Samurai, which allows you, and further builds on this, to select your own full node as the home beacon. That is fantastic. Or something like the SAB wallet also needs that, which will work on the Nodl super slick. So absolutely, you are controlling this Nodl over your own local network. And you just have to connect to your local network to have access to it, which is cool. Yeah. So we can wait. Did you see any further questions in the chat, Tom?
I don't see them. Keto Miners seems to be answering. There's a bunch of technical questions I wouldn't be able to answer, but Keto Miners, answering them. I would just encourage, anyone who's considering this. It's a really cool experience. Both just like from a technological, like experimental thing, but then also as like a financial independent self-sovereignty thing. It's both. So I just really encourage people to consider it.
Yep, absolutely. It truly is. And really it's no longer is there an excuse with such a plethora of self-running nodes that are pretty much plug and play. And I mean, what else could you want, seriously? And this is something that will just be running 24/7 in the backend. Like once you've done the setup, you most likely don't have to worry about it anymore, which is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's also, I mean, you're by doing this, you're participating in history as it's being made, right? Like there's so few people doing this now, especially now during the bear market. You know, there's so many people got into Bitcoin because they thought it was going to make them rich overnight or whatever, and like they're gone. And but and so this is not like you're going to be rich tomorrow, but this is you are, you know, getting your hands dirty as the new financial system for the world gets like built out. And this will be the kind of device you show your grandkids, you know, in like 30, 40, 50 years. And, you know, they'll be like,
my days.
Back in my day, I sat here for two days syncing the network and blah, 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 you know, and they're going to have, of course, a full node installed in their like eyeball, like, you know, like,
Get on that. That's a feature. Nodl in the eye.
It feels really good.
It really does, right? And then especially when you realize that all of a sudden, from any phone, you can have the Bitcoin blockchain, like, and fully manage that. And it's not just the Bitcoin blockchain, right? It's Lightning Network on there as well. It's a BTC Pay server on there as well. So if you're a merchant, put this little box into the back of your room somewhere and give your employees a little app or a browser window where they can connect to this. And you have with one box for $400 plus a bunch of tablets or
hey, cutie. Hey, do you want to come meet my friend Max?
Oh, is that a Doge dog? I don't think it's a Doge.
1 second, cutie. Sorry, Max. I gotta go fix the TV for my daughter.
All good.
I'll be back in a second.
Okay, Tim. See you in a second. Right, and the very cool thing though is that now you can put this stuff in the back of your restaurant, for example, give the waitresses on their phone or just a customer or a wallet, and you have the entire process of running your business on the financial side on one little box. That is insane, and as easy and usable as this is. And audio video tweet. Yes, you will be able to verify every transaction in your eyeball. Absolutely. Coming to the Nodl in 2 weeks. Let's see a couple more questions. And here, especially, first of all, guys, for the donation, but also here, Tallycoin, right? Lightning integration now. And not yet can you connect your Nodl to Tallycoin, but hopefully that's running soon. So currently, you can donate right here, that's on-chain, or scroll down here and buy with Lightning, which is awesome. But further stuff here happening on this side as well. We had a couple really nice questions up here in the chat. And that was again by Jake. If managing incoming liquidity, or in general, just being able to do some autopilot on Lightning, and that is absolutely a critical tool that we still need, right? Is being able to trustlessly download or to trustlessly manage your cash flows, literally in Lightning, and do that in a smart and efficient way without bothering you with it. Right? You do not need to know which route your payment takes. You only need to know that it is there. But on the other hand, you still want to have control over your finances. And having a complete autopilot there might not be as useful, right? So I know that the Casa community has a Lightning pool, a liquidity pool. And that means that they can just connect to a bunch of these to a bunch of your peers that you somewhat trust, right, in the Casa community, and provide liquidity for each other. Plus, optionally, you can all be a watchtower over each other's transactions if ever your Casa node goes down. And of course, that is possible with any type of full node, which is awesome. We also have Peter Veritas asking when Genesis block stickers. Well, they're here. That's the cool thing. They are in every Nodl, at least I think so. So get your Nodl and you'll get a couple Genesis block stickers as well, which are fantastic. Is the TV fixed, Tom?
Yeah. So we'll see. I might have to go in a minute. So we'll see. It's the morning here. I'm in Seattle, so my daughter just got up.
Oh yes, oh yeah, and that's also really nice to see that this community is completely global, and seeing where the novels are shipping is insane because it's really all over the place. Even one in Australia, and that is fantastic. So Bitcoin is truly a global family, a global community, and that is awesome. So yeah, maybe Tony, like your little summary of how was the Nodl experience? How do you like it so far, and where do you think can it improve in the future?
So I mean, I think the goal of the Nodl, as I understand it, is to make running your own node, a Bitcoin node and Lightning node, and then also BTC Pay server, accessible to noobs. And I'm a psychologist. I don't do like technology as part of my work at all or anything like that. And it's been great. I mean, setting it up. We'll see after it's syncing. I'll start using it and set up the Lightning, and then I want to set up a BTC Pay server store for kind of Lightning collectibles and stuff like that. But so far, it's been great. I recommend everyone get into it. And you don't have to be full-time Bitcoin. I have a normie job. I have a regular career, which occupies me full-time. And so that's, my brain is usually thinking about my normie job, which I love. And so I don't, you don't have to be a Bitcoin core programmer to make this work anymore, which I think is awesome.
Oh yes, absolutely. This truly is for everyone, right? And money should be something that removes uneasiness for you. And uneasiness, of course, of an uncertain future. That's the store value aspect, but also from a usability point of view. You don't want to worry if your gold is going to rust in a cellar or something, right? That is, then you put that out to experts. Well, in Bitcoin, the expert can be you when you have sufficient tools. And I would say that a Nodl absolutely is one of these tools that can help you to make sure that you are actually fully self-sovereign in your monetary aspects. And that is beautiful. And maybe just before you go, let's do one more thing, and let's install LND. Which
that was so fast. Yeah, that took like a second.
Exactly, because currently we are syncing already 156,000 blocks. So that is really, really fast. But only.
Oh, great! Yeah, you're chugging ahead. That's like as quickly as I've been going.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? And so while Bitcoin D is syncing, you can already install LND. Okay, so that is schedule install, and it will refresh the page. Okay, guess I have to refresh the page.
You got to go to it and then hit enter in the URL.
Yeah. By the way, this is supposedly already fixed by Cato Miner. So if you are on the most up-to-date version, which you hopefully will be.
Oh, he already fixed it while we were talking? That's a riot. I mean, this is an issue I had with my Casa node as well, is I'd have, like, Chrome didn't want to, like, update. So I'd have to, like, go in and refresh and, like, that kind of stuff. And so...
Yes, Cato Miner has fixed the problem. Let's see if it works. I don't think so. Maybe let's start through the entire admin process. And installation scheduled. Don't know about the process, but it will hopefully be done. But really important notice here, you should not install BTC Pay while Bitcoin D is syncing. Oh, now it is. LND just finished, so that was here. And maybe a loading screen would be nice. Cato Miner, get on it. You have 20 minutes until we end the episode. But LND is already installed, and as soon as the Bitcoin blockchain is synced, you can start with LND here as well, which is fantastic. And of course, here BTC Pay server, please really wait until everything is finished. It's not a lethal break, but it will make the initial sync time much longer, because BTC Pay will bother Bitcoin T on the most recent block, which of course will be updated every second. So wait with BTC Pay install after you have synced the initial blockchain, and already we are hitting 1%. So that is phenomenal.
Yeah, let me see where I'm at. Yeah, I'm at 10.5%.
Awesome. This really is extremely fast. And I'm really not even connected like, to the most optimal place here with the router. So let's see if we can get this even faster. But yeah, it's amazing hardware, super beautiful, easy to use, but still bare bones software. And of course, it's shipped. It really is not vaporware. All 21 units of the initial batch are shipped. They are now flying across the entire globe to their corresponding. And this video is especially for these to make sure that they have an easy process with the setup. But as you saw, it's super convenient. It's super easy. And for all those that are interested in getting your hands on a Nodl, unfortunately, well, the first batch is sold out. But pretty soon, there will be a oncurring sale of all the devices. And no longer batches, but just the regular nonstop process. After K2 Miner has a little bit of rest after stressful to getting out all these Nodls on time.
Yeah, I'd really recommend, get one, try it out. Join the Telegram group where we're all talking about it. I mean, this is not going to be, at some point, like, Kato Miner is going to get like famous and be, running some big company or something, and you're not going to be able to just like access him in the Telegram group. You know what I mean? So do this while you can.
Already, he's popping champagne on his yacht and everything, so he's a douchebag already.
So, I mean, to be able to get in on this kind of thing on the ground floor, there's some people that are like, oh, I'm too late for Bitcoin. And I'm like, what? Like, this is like early days, So get in on it, experiment with it, set up your own store, and send me a link and I'll set up a channel with you.
Awesome. Yes. And let's grow this community, right? We're all in this together. And well, we are reckless, truly, in every aspect of this word. Still, right? Reckless in our defense, first and foremost, which this is absolutely a beautiful tool to use.
Yeah. I put the reckless sticker on my box. There it is.
Yes, I'm absolutely going to blaster my device with stickers. Because I can't do it on my laptop, the Purism laptop, because it's a pretty nice laptop and it's so nice with its metal black everything. All black
yeah.
So I'm not gonna put stickers on there, but I need a place to put all these awesome Bitcoin stickers, which I bought with ridiculously low fees on Lightning.
Yeah. Unfairly low fees.
Fairly, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, Piers, thank you very much for joining here. That was it. We did a unboxing the initial setup of the Nodl. And I mean, if we would have not babbled on for like 10 minutes or 2 hours.
Yeah, it was all just us talking. The actual installation was like boom, boom, boom.
Precisely. And again, like with live fixes of the little bugs that we found during the live stream, that is phenomenal. So that was fun. You see, it's a really easy process. Don't be scared to run your own full node. Don't be fearful about this. Get educated, acquire this knowledge, and stand strong in it. Right? Once you have reached this understanding, apply it. Don't just talk about it, actually apply it. And this is, of course, something where any plug-and-play node, like a Raspberry Pi node, like the Raspberry Blitz, like the Casa node, or something like the BitSeed, which is also a really powerful PC, and, of course, the Nodl, which I just personally to like and have. But there are a million and one different amazing projects. Get involved, do something about it, and claim your financial sovereignty. This is awesome. And George asks if I'm going to demo your hammock. Actually, yes. Finally, I'm back in my home place after having to sleep 7 weeks on a puny normal mattress. No, not acceptable. Once you go hammock, you never go back. Like that, it's just as with Bitcoin. Once you realize what Bitcoin is, you're not going to use fiat anymore. Once you realize how it feels to sleep in a cloud every single night, you're not going to stop. So I'm very glad to be reunited in my hammock. Well, Tony, first of all, thank you very much for joining. And
Sure.
any last words from you? Where can the peers find you?
Well, thank you, Max. This is great, and I just want to say thank you to Ketominer for making this device. It's really awesome, and so and I'm not a public figure in Bitcoin. I'm just like some noob like playing with the stuff. So you can find me on the Telegram channel, on the Nodl Telegram channel, and when you get it open, let me know your node, and I'll set up a channel with you, and we can do some unfairly cheap transactions together.
Oh yes, and let's do a couple of coin joins while we're at it.
We didn't. Did we talk about Wasabi?
Well, it's theoretically possible to run a bunch of other stuff on there as well, though it's not yet working. And we first want to make sure it's working, because Wasabi, unfortunately, is not tailored for ARM repositories or ARM systems, such as the Nodl is running. It's still not working, and the focus was first on getting the first batch running, just with Bitcoin D, LND, and BTC Pay. But now, after getting the second continuous batch going, then and having all the first generalized bug fixes, then a bunch of amazing stuff can come. I mean, we've talked about Gotenna, Blockstream satellites, and all this.
Yeah.
It's not possible. We just have to do it.
I mean, this is all beta software, right? So I don't want to run too many different beta software together at the same time. So I might keep them separate for a little while. But yeah, I got my Wasabi wallet doing the coin join, the mixing. I just leave that going. And I recommend everyone try that as well, I guess, separately. So. Oh,
yes, absolutely. And Piers, I'm glad to announce that we've made it to 1%. So within this little process here, or little show, we've synced 1% of the entire
data. Congratulations.
Nice. And that just with a push of a button. Isn't that amazing? Piers, again, thank you very much for your support here of the World Crypto Network, not just in the chats and hanging out there, which is awesome, and in all the Telegram chats, but also like specifically here on Tallycoin, which is a beautiful, beautiful website where you can donate to whomever you find provides value to you.
Oh, cool! Yeah, I heard about that. Oh, your volume kicked out, Max.
Thanks for letting me know. This is a monthly fundraiser where I try to get 5 million Satoshis every month. So it's a lot. And you can you get early access to the shows that I pre-record. So for example, the entire Bitcoin Optech newsletter, Bitcoin to the Max access, of course, a tutorial on how to use Wasabi, a tutorial on how to use Bisq, the decentralized exchange. So all the good Bitcoin stuff is in there. And also something that is awesome is the Tally chat. So now you can send specific questions like a YouTube super chat, but pay a tiny, tiny Bitcoin payment for this. And of course, this also means that we have Lightning Network integrated here. As I said, not yet with the not yet with a you must sign in, and not yet with your own full node, but I'm running a open node, a custodial Lightning wallet back here in the back end, and it works like a charm. So if you want to send a couple Lightning payments, test it out. Here's the page where I would really appreciate your support.
That's great. I'm going to do that once we get off. This is so great. I didn't realize I was so far along. Have you used Bisq yourself?
Oh yes, Bisq is beautiful. It's so cool. It's the best exchange that we could ever hope for. Yes, it has rather low volume, but again, that's something on us to change. But there is no registration process. You just connect over Tor. You set up your encrypted Euro or fiat account. Then you put the Bitcoin into a 2 out of 3 multi-signature wallet with your trading partner. Have some security deposits in there as well to incentivize honesty. And then you make the payment, and if everything goes through, you and your trading partner provide the 2 out of 3 signatures, and done. Right? Happens to 99% of the cases. It works smoothly just like that. But if something is happening, there is an arbitration process. So some trusted third party, which has been involved with the project for a very long time, I think or 5 about numbers, you can use them as an entity to handle disputes and talk about. And of course, they have one part of the keys, which means in the worst case scenario, you could get your Bitcoin back, plus the security deposit if someone tried stealing from you. So the game theory works out, the user interface is beautiful, and hopefully it'll be running on the Nodl. Not yet, though, because Bitcoin J is old.
Awesome. Yeah, I've heard great things about Bisq. I just haven't tried it myself yet.
It's beautiful. And step-by-step video tutorial in the description here on the World Crypto Network. So that's what we do, talking about awesome software.
Cool. Great.
Okay. Well, Tony, it was a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining me. And Piers, also, thank you for hanging in there in the chat and asking the questions. And thank you very much to the amazing 21 individuals who have gotten their hands on their first Nodl. First batch, so thank you. And please provide quick feedback, critical feedback. This has to be improved. And of course, with bug fixes, because there are many, as with everything in software. But yeah, be active, come to the community, come to the Slack, and build something with this. This is really your hardware, your software, and I just love it. So thank you very much for joining us here. And Tony, see you on the next show.
Great. Thanks, Max.
Bye-bye.